Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about The Expanse, Season 3, Episode 11. It is called Fallen World. So, full spoilers for the episode as always. And what a bizarre episode this was, having so little of the Rassi crew.
Yeah, it was weird, wasn't it?
It was weird. Because I started to notice, and I was like, oh, this is funny, we've not seen Amos or Alex yet. Like, what's up with them? I mean, we're holding us, obviously, and Naomi's kind of on her way, she's going. It made sense once we got there why we hadn't seen them, because
Yeah,
if they'd shown what happened to them before Naomi got there, it'd have ruined some of the mystery when she's getting to the ship and she's looking around and it's like, oh, where are they? Are they okay? Because
yeah,
basically this episode is completely the fallout of what happened at the end of the last one in terms of what happened to all the ships and all of the people inside the ring, because everyone to put it simply, the speed limit changed. It got
yeah.
slower, and all of a sudden, not to the same extent that what's his face from Delta V crashed into the ring, but enough that it caused a lot of damage and a lot of people are dead. We see on the Earth ship, on the UN ship, there's just there's that scene where Anna's walking through the hallway and there's just people floating and dead
Yeah,
everywhere.
blood everywhere.
And of course, it's quite neat that she's not really familiar with space travel, because she needs it to be explained to her why this is actually quite dangerous in terms of, okay, we can't have gravity. And if we can't have gravity, then we can't treat a lot of types of wounds and issues, because the blood won't clot, it won't, so on and so forth. So that's really neat. I think that's really smart to get that out when it does, because later on, when because we have Drummer and Ashford trapped in the with the big rig,
Big car thing.
yeah, on the behemoth. At one point, like he starts coughing up blood, and it's like, oh, that is even more serious than normal. Like I mean, coughing up blood's pretty serious.
Yes, but we were just told internal injuries will not heal.
Yes. Because again, there's no gravity, so this becomes a big thing. And obviously a big thing for the behemoth, because when the situation kind of resolves itself, and we'll talk about how that does, because they have the big drum that can spin and create gravity from that, they are unique amongst the ships. And of course they're trapped throughout all the episode. He's at one end of the vehicle, she's at the other end. If it goes back, it'll kill him. If it goes forward, it'll kill her. And they're basically bickering. They go through kind of a range of like hatred, camaraderie, almost to the point where it comes full circle and she starts singing with him. There's a scene that starts with her complaining to him about singing, and then
Yeah,
by the end of the scene, there's kind of this belter sort of bonding that's happening,
yeah.
and there's an understanding between her, and she chooses to kind of, and she's not dead yet, and I'm sure she'll be back. Before too long, but she risks killing herself so that he can get out. Maybe seeing that he is maybe better suited to be captain, maybe just doubting herself that she isn't good enough.
I don't even know if it's that. I don't know if it is as much a choice of pushing it forwards or backwards, or more just when she ignites the spark, it's just going to move forwards by its nature.
Okay.
Because it's an engine, it's going to push forwards. Typically, if you start up an engine like that, right, it's going to push in one way.
Well, yeah, but at the start of this plot, they outright discussed that they've got the options to move it forward or backwards.
Well, yeah, I thought that was because he had a control panel, right?
Sure,
I
yeah.
thought she was just,
Or maybe she
jolting
didn't have the
into
choice
life.
at that end. Okay, sure, I
Yeah,
get
that's
what
what I
you're
was
saying.
thinking.
But she still makes that choice.
She does, yeah.
She does make that choice. She knows what's going to happen and she makes the choice. So it doesn't really make much difference. I mean, don't get me wrong. It adds the possibility for her to be cruel and just be like, you know what, I'll just send
Yeah,
it back the way. But regardless, the actual sacrifice in the moment itself is still hers. It's still a conscious choice she makes. Because I love the scene where they've got the arm, the big robotic arm, and then it's like, oh, there's a comms device up there. Grab it, and he can't see, so she's directing where to move it, and it's just this.
left. Oh, no, shit, I meant right.
Yeah, no, right, up, down, And I was actually thinking when she was like, okay, get ready to like grab it. I was like, this thing looks really strong. This isn't for machinery. This little glass device is not
Well,
going to
it's going
interfere
to get
well.
crushed.
And to be fair, it does it lightly, and it does hold it, and then the thing malfunctions and it just shatters and just goes.
Yep.
Actually, there's a lot of really nice little effects in this episode, because there wasn't a lot of big space battle effects, but there was a lot of neat little effects that I loved. One was Tilly crying before she died in the Zero G.
Yeah.
I love the build up of tears, like all over her whole eye, because it
because it
wasn't
doesn't go
falling.
down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I really like that. That was a really neat touch. Or even the fact that they're going around the UN ship with essentially a vacuum for the blood that's floating around. Okay, we have to get this blood. Let's just vacuum it
yeah.
up. It's
Just
like,
that I love that that's standard on these military ships to have that on board.
well, even if it's not a military ship, I imagine it's something you have in a ship. If not for blood, then for any liquid that
Yeah, yeah.
gets
But I imagine
loose.
they have one. Okay, this is the blood one.
Sure, maybe.
I don't want to be mixing it about.
Well, it depends if you plan on reusing it. If it's just going to get jettisoned into space, it
Well,
doesn't really
oh no,
matter so
that's
much.
fair. But I feel like if it's water, you probably don't want to be wasting it, right?
That's just true. Well, if it's piss though, the piss can go in the
I,
blood
I
one.
don't know what they do with piss. I don't know if they filter it out or
They could be recycling it. That's true. They could be doing that.
I don't remember the show ever telling us.
They don't want to get into that. They don't want us to think of Waterworld when we're watching The Expanse, so they just don't mention it.
It's a good rule.
Kevin Costner on his little raft. God, that movie's so stupid. Right. Where was it? So yeah, so I just so Ashford and Drummer, she makes this choice, and he gets out. He's like, okay, get med teams down here, come and help us. And he's like, okay, we're going to spin the drum. And they're like, hey, it was designed to do that originally, but like it's never actually been done before. And we've added all this extra shit onto it. Like this is dangerous.
If this goes wrong, it could rip the ship apart.
And he's like, yeah, but like, all of our hurt aren't going to, we won't be much worse off than we are now anyway. And if it works, then we can actually save, hundreds of lives.
People, yeah.
That's just on their ship. And obviously, what happens next is that they spin the drum, it works. And it's like, okay, we've got gravity. We can start to heal the injured. And he put me on comms for all the other ships. And it was kind of obvious what he was probably going to do here, but with Ashford, I was like, okay, maybe he'll go a darker route here. Because one of the things him and Drummer talk about, of course, is how they want the other factions to see them, as the belt. Like,
Yeah, that's why they wear the uniform now.
yeah, because there's that debate about the uniforms where she's like, no, I'm not wearing a uniform like them. We're belters because we're all different and unique, and that's what makes us the belt. It's like, and maybe we can become that later, but they have to see us as one right now. This kind of debate, and certainly this is, I mean, obviously, I mean, if you want to be cynical and say it's just a political move. I think you could say that because it is like, no, he's reaching out to all the other ships. We're in this together. But I'd like to think there was a mix of, okay, there's a political benefit to this, but there is actually an element of kindness in it.
I don't think Ashford's that much of a dick.
And that's fair.
He's never come across as that much of a dick that he'll willingly let them all die.
He's a sly bastard, but yes, he's not.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. He has his own motives for things, but there's literally hundreds of people dying. I don't think he's that heartless.
That's true. They've not shown him to be like that yet. But obviously, there's been all these little hints of him like trying to take over the ship from Drummer and kind of undermine her.
Yeah, definitely.
There's been elements to his character that like. I think what they've done with him is that he came into it. Some of our characters knew who he was and knew his history, but we didn't, and we've been kind of learning it as we go.
Yeah.
So I think we've been kind of playing guessing games with who he really is and what his real goals are.
He's definitely been antagonistic, but he's not been a bad person to that.
Yes.
Definitely nothing to that extent.
Oh, sure, yeah. But it makes sense because it's actually, I like how it cuts to, we'll get to Bobby's stuff here, and Bobby, she picks up Holden. Holden's not breathing. They take him off. She's the one who figures out, hey, there's been a change in the speed limit, so we have to go slower. Then they go up to the ship, and her fellow Martians, the other gunnies, they're like, oh, we should maybe just shoot him here. Like, that's probably best. We just kill him here. So no, we're not doing that. This wasn't him, because they keep thinking, oh, he was in control of everything that happened in there. He blew up the our captain.
I can see why from their perspective, because it looked like he was making the moves, right?
Yeah, he was definitely doing so. I mean, we know he wasn't. We didn't have any
No, we know there was more going on, but from their perspective, they come down here. He's activating things. He's willingly doing it instead of, they're saying, "Hey, don't touch that," and he's just doing it anyway, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a bit of a leap to say, "Oh, you definitely were attacking us with what you were doing." I don't know if that's necessarily there, and that's why Bobby has her doubt, and she also has her doubt because she knows Miller well, or not Miller, sorry, Freudian slip. She knows Holden well enough to be like, "No, that's not what he was doing." And she does point out that she still took a shot when she was supposed to do her job and take him out, even though she knows who it is. She still did that, and then obviously things intervened, but. she did do that. That's when the others question our intention. No, our orders is to take him back to the ship. That's what we're going to do.
Also, I'm glad there was a line because, and I'm surprised she didn't hit back with it, where, they've got him restrained. He's a prisoner.
Yeah.
They're taking him back, and they're like, "Oh, let's just kill him." It's like, wait a second. This is essentially a prisoner of war, and you just want to execute him.
Yeah. Yeah. So Draper, of course, regardless of whether or not she knows Miller, she's playing. And this is the sort of thing. I don't know if she necessarily would have executed someone last season when we first met her, but she was definitely a lot more, very patriotic Martian. She was always looking for White Earth with a villain, right? That's what she was always doing.
Definitely.
And she's definitely grown. Between Avasarala working with the Rassi crew over the season. She's definitely grown as a character, and I don't want to say that she would have done this back then, but I think she's definitely a lot more willing to stand in front of him and say, no, that's not what's right here. Because what I was getting to is when Ashford makes this appeal, it's like, okay, they're even like complaining, they're essentially being just racist about it, like, oh, we're going to them for help, those skinny belters, like, oh, rather die. It's like, what? No, we're all in this together. Everyone in here now has to work together to survive. Because as they point out, because of the speed limit change, it would take 70 years to get back out of the ring at the current speed limit.
I thought it was just 7 months.
7 months, you're right. I don't know where I got 70 years from.
Yeah. But that was still extreme because they haven't got the supplies to get the small ships
that was it,
back at that speed.
Yes, I inflated that quite a bit, but yes, 7
You
months.
did.
They don't have the supplies for it, and so a whole new problem. And who's to say this thing can't just lower it again?
Yeah, because she reasons that, okay, it was the grenade that made it react, right? And it wanted to stop that, so it brought the speed down to that speed essentially
To protect itself, yeah.
Yeah, to make that stop. So it went down to that. But if it needs to go down again, it'll be whatever triggers it will be. Okay, well, we'll go down to that speed now. It'll match whatever the action is, presumably.
Yeah. So don't attack it. That's maybe lesson number 1 now. You don't want to be slowed down anymore. For obvious reasons. But very, very interesting. But I like this idea that they all have to kind of work together to survive now. We're going to have a lot of refugees on the Behemoth, with them coming in to heal, because that's the only place they can heal.
Yeah, there was some really smart editing in this episode and transitions. Like, you just mentioned that one there where he sends out the message, and then we cut to them just talking about, like, oh, okay, that's where, we're sending off the injured there now. And there was one at the start as well where she says, okay, this is the new speed limit. We've got it now, this is it. And then it cuts to Naomi on her ship, and we see the speed limit, we see her, the speed she's going to accelerate to on her screen.
Yeah.
And you immediately go, that's a bad idea, don't go up there. But obviously she doesn't know any better yet.
Yeah.
And it's just this really smart flow.
That was the other effect I loved. It was this slow explosion from our comms,
that was cool. Yeah.
from our desk. That was really, really good. And her just like slowly grabbing her helmet just so she can vent the ship. She's like, oh, open the door, open the hatch, get it out. That was really fun. I'm saving Naomi for last though.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
For reasons. But yeah, so I mean that was basically Draper stuff, and I think what I loved about this episode is I said it was weird at the start that we spent so much time without our crew. I think it shows so much strength in how well this show is handled that it did that, and it never felt like it was lacking for it. Like, Drummer, who was such a minor character last season, like she's got like a main plot in this episode, and she's trapped in one place with her and Ashford, and I'm into this story. Then it cuts to Draper, and Holden's just knocked out. I'm into that debate, and then then it's cutting to Anna on the UN ship, and we're learning about the injuries, the extent of all the carnage. Again, I love the knock-on effect of cause and effect with this show, where we had this thing in the last episode, and the big stuff we were focusing on was Holden inside the actual centre. But we did briefly see like all this happen to the ships. We saw like Naomi sort of get knocked back and whatnot, and the purple kind of energy around them. This whole this whole start of this episode is like, no, that was serious as shit. There are hundreds of people dead on these ships. This is how bad it is.
I think it's really interesting how this is such a slower episode. There's none of those big moments like we've been having the last few. It's just it has
down.
It has slowed right down, and we just sit in the aftermath for an episode instead of getting another big thing rushing ahead like we have been the last few.
It's solving the It's solving the real human threat of what just happened. It's like, okay, so something big and fantastic just happened, but that has real consequences to all us normal humans, mortals who are struggling to survive in space. It's very dangerous. So it's about dealing with the aftermath, just the crisis of, oh shit, we have to deal with this before we can do anything else. And again, it's one of those little elements of the show that makes you feel a lot more grounded. It's like, okay, right, this would affect everyone, and they're all kind of dealing with it. So you have the UN ship, and you have obviously Tilly, who I actually thought she was dead already at the start, but then she kind of calls Anna later on, kind of wakes up a little bit.
She's just a bit stabbed.
She's a bit stabbed. She does die soon after, but not before giving a little dying speech to Anna about who Melba really is. She's really Clarissa Mao, and she goes hunting for her, and no one else seems to want to help Anna. She's like, oh, I need to try and find this person, and
they're like, we got more important things to worry
she's like, here,
about.
you can track it yourself. Here's the data. Go do your thing.
Yeah.
And she races after, but she's already in the airlock, right? She's already looked up where the Rassi is. She thinks Holden's still on that, and she's going out into space to go, because they're all pretty close together at this point, relatively speaking.
Yeah.
Near the center.
Well, we know that they sent one from the Rassi to this ship, or right with the TV crew.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, well, yeah, we can go the other way.
Monica and camera finger eyes.
Yeah.
So and Anna's trying to stop her. And I love that Anna thinks she's going to, because she picks up a baton. She off an injured troop. She takes a baton, and I'm like, we've seen her steroid and go Hulk. Anna, I'm not liking your chances with that stick.
But she doesn't know that.
She doesn't, but I was thinking, I don't like your chances with the stick, Anna. That's all I'm saying.
Stick's better than nothing.
It's better than that's true. That's very true. So yeah. Now we'll jump to Naomi, because Naomi's also going towards the Rassi.
Yeah.
Right, this is where Naomi gets there a little bit first, a little bit earlier, and she comes into the ship, and everything's sort of desolate. It's just very quiet. There's no one around. She's like, "Oh, Holden, Alex, Amos, where are you guys?" No one's on the bridge. It's like, well, this is weird. What's happening? And they terrified me with the Alex reveal of this. Because he's standing, and I didn't necessarily think we're losing Alex, because especially since I've seen Cass Anver look really happy that we're getting season 4, so I assume he's still on the show. But I was worried what happened to him, because when she comes into the kitchen, he's standing in the corner like the end of Blair Witch. That's what it reminded me of. And
you're right, yeah.
And then she slowly turns him around, and he's passed out, and I was like, you couldn't see his face. They were hiding his face from us. I'm like, oh my god, is he disfigured? Is there something in his face? Like, what's happening? And he's actually fine. He's just knocked out. He's got a sore neck. She takes him to the med bay.
Whiplash, I assume, from the acceleration.
Yeah. So, and he's like, oh, Holden, and I love it. He's like, oh, because he's still kind of out of it. He's barely awake. He's like, oh, yeah, no, Holden left earlier. He went with Miller, and she's just like, Miller?
What the hell? You're clearly out of it.
Yeah, I don't believe him. And then she finds Amos down in the engineering, and he's and he just wakes up briefly. He's like, "You've changed your hair," and then just passes back out, and that's but it's very sweet. I really like the scene when she's got them both in the med bay, and she talks to Amos a little bit, and it's a really sweet scene where he's like, "Are you back?" And she's like, "Yeah." And the music I thought was really nice here, because the music doesn't get touching very often on this show, but I felt like it was doing a nice little touching motif here. And he's like, "Oh, back to help or back to stay?" And she's like, back to stay, and he kind of acts like, oh, okay, and he just kind of he doesn't give her the big grand welcome that maybe she was expecting.
He is a bit out of it, though, to be fair.
He is out of it. He's also Amos, which I think is also
double down. Yeah,
I feel like when Alex wakes up, he will probably do a little dance, and he'll be like hugging her.
He'll try, and then he'll be like, ow, my neck.
Yeah. Oh, they got fancy med bay tech.
Maybe
he'll be ready to do the gymnastics as soon as he wakes up.
Well, we'll see.
Well, no, that's not entirely true, because Draper was trying to whip him back into shape because he was struggling to sit up out of bed.
You couldn't do him in the first place. It's the old joke of, my hands have been injured. Will I be able to play piano? Yeah. Well, good. I couldn't before. That's what that was.
That's
that you just did. It is terrible. That's why it's just it's an old joke.
All right. So where are we? Okay. So yes. So Clarissa gets to the ship. You see she's got her little thing to rip into the hull, and then she sort of seals it back up. Because I was actually, before, I didn't realise she sealed it at first, and I thought the purple energy was actually protecting the atmosphere in the ship.
Okay.
And then I saw the clear. I was like, oh, she's covered it. It's fine. But because I thought like Naomi went down, no, there's no readings of like the pressure being off or anything like that. And she comes down into the cargo hold, and I thought she was going to turn around and see the hole and go, what? Why am I breathing? I thought that was
Yeah.
going to be a moment, but then I was like, oh no, there's like a cover on it. It's not fine. But of course, then we get a nice little fight where they're both kind of like, because Clarissa has thrusters, Naomi does not.
Yeah, she's in the suit. She's got all that extra
She's got
punch.
she's got the what would I call it? Like a battering ram. It's like two battering rams on her hands.
Yeah. Probably what they are. They're probably for getting into
Yeah.
airways and stuff. If they're because she's posing as technician, right?
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Maintenance. They probably need to get into areas at times.
Yeah, because she's got, and I think they're magnetic as well. But she's got like battering rams, and she's like, I don't know, she's trying to punch Naomi. She's actually got her down by the neck, and obviously I was expecting Amos to like come up and
I was too,
Yeah.
because that's usually what happens in these situations.
it actually took me a second. We've never seen Anna in a spacesuit before. It took me a second to realize that was her face and the helmet.
It did take me a second too. I was like, "Oh, that's her."
Yeah, it's Anna. She's followed her. She's put on a suit, which is especially ballsy for her, given that we've clearly established that she's not very well, experienced in space travel.
Yeah,
So putting on a spacesuit and just thrusting your way over to a ship, with no tether or anything like that, is pretty ballsy on her part.
it is. It is.
So I'll give her some props there. But I thought it was a really fun little fight. It's really simple. It was just one little place, but her trying to like just sort of push herself up because again, zero G fighting is such a fun idea, especially when you're enclosed. It's not so fun in space itself because there's just lots of empty space. But when there's
Well, that's it. You
walls,
punch and you just fly backwards, and that's
exactly.
it, right?
But when there's like walls and there's like bars and railings and stuff to like push
Swing
off
around and hold on. Yeah.
it gets a little bit more interesting. There's more to it, and I was having fun with that. So that's good. And I guess we should wrap it all back around to Holden because the final scene, which we leave in the cliffhanger, it doesn't really tell us much, admittedly, but there is one particular phrasing here that I think is notable. Is he wakes up and Bobby asks, what did you see? He's like, I had a vision. A vision of what? He's like, the end of everything. Which
Very ominous.
ominous, yes. Interesting. Because when we saw it, we were like, oh, lots of doors to other places. Is he seeing like all these places dying? Is that what he was like seeing? Because obviously we're interpreting it, maybe not as good as he was because he's the character seeing it.
Yeah, and I was speculating last week maybe some of it had more meaning in his mind. He was understanding it a bit more, whereas we were just getting these fragmented glimpses.
I mean, not to get back into like outrageous speculation about what the
here we go.
molecule is, but if this was like something this civilization sent out, was it a warning? Was it something? Because I don't think this show would do that. There's something destroying the universe in terms of a force, right? But is it like a warning? Oh, we're all going, like the entire universe is going to die if like you don't meet up with all these other doors, like all the civilizations through all these doors. If you don't all connect and solve the problem.
I kind of hope it's not that.
Whatever it is, I don't know.
No, I'll be honest. I hope it's not that. That's a bit too outlandish.
Sure. I mean, I'm not saying I think it is this or I hope that it is even. I just because this is the one bit of new information here is Holden saying it's the end of everything, which I don't think we got from last episode. We did not get the end.
I like the idea of it being a warning.
Sure. Yeah.
That tracks for sure, but I don't know. These other civilizations joined up. That's a bit much, I think.
Or what if that's the plan, but they're all dead already?
Maybe.
Is something like that? I don't know. It's interesting though. I don't know. I'm curious. This is a bit of a swerve. I didn't see this thing as an omen, as a pathetic omen of doom. The universe is dying or whatever it meant specifically. Again, I'm going on one line of dialogue from Holden.
I'm sure we'll get a bit more next week.
Very possibly. Again, we slowed down. We took care of the actual human sort of dangers of what just happened, and now Holden's awake again, so we can get back to some outlandish elements.
We can. He can describe what he thinks he saw.
Yes, and does Draper realize that taking him back to the Martian ship's not a good idea and helps him escape back to the Rassi? Is that something that happens?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's also worth noting as well. He says, "Oh, it's the end of every." He sees the end of everything, and we're saying, "Oh, maybe he knows more than we do. He got a better look at it."
Mm.
But it could be he could be misinterpreting it.
It could be.
We could be actually, having an outside perspective, be looking at it with a bit more, a bit more detached logic than he is.
Or maybe it goes back to the conversation with Ashford and Drummer about her joking, because he actually gets kind of optimistic at one point, and she's like, "Oh, I guess there is one more optimist left that hasn't
It's
died
it's
around me."
it's the very end. It's just before she does it.
Yeah,
She's like, "No, no, we'll get out of this still."
yeah, it's not the end yet. There's still hope. Damn it.
Yeah, that's it. Just before she's about to, she's given up for all intents and purposes.
Yeah. So no, it's interesting. Obviously, I assume we'll get more of this next week. I feel like, I mean, we might get back to the Martian ship with Holden. I feel like either she'll decide to help because something, or maybe the other two Martians are going to try and attack him, and it'll be more of like a forced. Okay, we have to just sort of improvise, and
Yeah.
it'll end up with them going back to the Rassi or something.
Alternatively, I could see it being interesting him going to the Martian ship and being like,
Yeah, very
"No, this is
possibly.
important. I need to tell them."
Which
And
then, because the reason why I'm thinking this way is because if he does go to the Martian ship, I'm like, okay, right, how's he going to end up back at the Rassi? Because it's going to happen at some point.
it is, yeah. I can see it maybe being not to the end of the season at this point,
Yeah, very possibly.
or like the last episode at least, but more just he goes back to the Martian ships like, "No, I've got to warn them. I've got to tell them about this. It's important." Everyone's kind of getting onto the same side at the minute anyway because they're all kind of stuck in it together, with their belters offer kind of bringing them together a bit as well.
And
So
Anna has information as to who actually blew up the thing, so maybe she can actually clear his
she
name a
can
little bit.
verify, yeah. So I think maybe
Or
maybe
they might,
that's where we go down.
I mean, they may not believe her, admittedly, because she's only one opinion, she's only one witness, but
She is, but I mean, she's a pretty reliable source, right? She has
yeah,
no
but
connection
you
to
know what
the
it's like
Rossi
on
crew.
this show sometimes when some characters don't want to believe something, they'll just
No, it's true, but I mean in the sense that she has no relation to the Rossi crew that she should be sticking up for them. She's respected enough that because she's a she's a minister. She's pretty impartial.
now she's on the Rassi crew, which is actually kind of fun. Like she's actually there
Yeah,
now with the team. It's a fun little team up that we only get introduced to her this season. It was just I don't know if I expected that by the end of the season we'd have her on the
no,
Rassi with the
it's
crew.
pretty funny given how long we spent with like a Vassarala and in Bobby as well. Not them having them meet the crew for so long. I thought, yeah, this probably isn't going to cross paths anytime soon. That's fine. It
Yeah,
never
yeah,
even crossed my mind that they were going to meet.
yeah. No, it was a genuine surprise when she was the one who hit
Yeah,
her because I really thought it was just going to be Amos.
me too.
But yeah, so no, exciting stuff. I'm looking forward to more of, and it's worth mentioning. You were saying, oh, I might not get back to the Rassi till the end of the season. We only have 2 episodes left, so that's not even that bold
It's not, no,
a statement.
exactly. That's why I thought it's possible we could hold
Yeah,
off for a couple of episodes.
yeah, we very well could. I wonder if like maybe Naomi gets the comms up because she's Naomi and she can fix things. Because
Yep.
I liked at one point when she's just checking the screen. It's before she goes down to check the bay with thingy on board. She's looking through the screens and checking like the vitals of the ship, and she just looks disgusted. Like, what have you done to my baby?
Yeah,
What have you
yeah,
done? But it's just all on her
definitely.
face. It's good. But yeah. So no. So I'm wondering like if I don't know they trying to intercept and get Holden back. If there's a bit of a standoff with Bobby or something, and she has to make some sort of choice, or like I could see it going down a lot of ways.
Could be, yeah.
But hey, so that's episode 11. We have 2 left of the season, not of the show, because Amazon, Bezos is that guy. So
Yes.
praise Bezos. Thank you. If only all of my favorite shows would be loved by a billionaire, and we could just.
I mean, to be honest, we're doing pretty good these days.
We're actually doing okay. We've had very few actual casualties that have upset us.
None that really hurt.
No, not really.
It was this and Brooklyn Nine-Nine that hurt for the
And
first
then
time in a long time.
yeah, and then they both got saved. And then somehow Lucifer got saved as well, even though I don't give a shit about Lucifer, but okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Have your
So,
Lucifer.
everything can be saved.
Yes. You can't stop the work.
Yeah.
There you go. So that's the Expanse. That is season 3, episode 11. Let us know what you thought of this one in the comments below. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv. There's a bunch of bonuses over there. There's also, even if you don't want to sign up and give us money, which we also love. We do love that. But if you want to go over there and just check out, there's a handy list of links to all the various shows on the YouTubes and all the audio feeds, so you can go over there for that. It's just quite handy just to have that. Regardless, also I like the idea of promoting something else at the end of one of these shows. I think it's probably worth promoting 121 in Flux at the end of this, because we do a lot of sci-fi movies. So if you like, if you like the fact that we're talking about a sci-fi show here, you can check out 121 in Flux, which is our movie show that me and Connor do, where we talk about movies, not new movies. They can be any type of, like, they could be a few years old, they could be 70 years old. We've done everything in between, but a lot of them have been sci-fi movies. Not always, but a lot of them are.
Yeah.
So
especially recently, there's been a couple.
Yes, the next one going up publicly about half a day after this goes up on the YouTubes is Alien versus Predator.
Yeah, they're not all good movies, clearly.
Clearly, yeah. Sometimes they're bad movies, but you can have a look at that. But that's us, guys. So thank you very much once again for watching and listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV, guys. Have you got any vanilla?